Here's the top 5 things I would recommend checking before you hit the trails with your new Element Enduro Ecto. Number 1, check the endpoints of your steering. Gently steer in both directions, ensure you're getting the full range of motion and travel and not fouling or hitting any parts of the suspension geometry setup. In the case of mine, the left front wheel was quite badly fouling on the left front lower link out of the box. So if you have that problem, you need to fix it. If you're using the standard radio, you can fix that by adjusting the dual rate for steering and reducing that slightly until such time that you're not hitting any of the links with the steering. If, like me, you've swapped to a FlySky receiver, you can change the endpoints with the endpoint adjustment, and as you can see, I've had to go down to 60% on the left hand endpoint and 90% on the right. Number 2 is check all the screws. Just go around the whole vehicle, make sure the screws are nipped up nice and tight. Don't over tighten them, particularly the ones going into plastic, but just make sure none of them are loose. Really simple, very worthwhile maintenance. Number 3, once you've decided on the body accessories that you want to keep, you're going to need to just put a very small amount of glue on the back side of them. These are only held on with friction fit fittings, and over time they will wear loose and you'll lose these small pieces on the trail. Simple job, tiny bit of CA on each one once you're happy where they are. Item number 4 is to check the grease in the diffs. Very simple job. Undo the 4 screws holding on the diff cover. Whilst this might be a little bit fiddly, all 4 screws are accessible without having to dismantle the axle. Once that's done, carefully prise the diff cover off and check inside for grease. This one, as you can see, is quite well greased. There's a good glob in there. I'm going to spread that out on the teeth a little bit just to be absolutely sure. But I'm happy with the levels of grease in there. Fifth and final thing to check is the grease in the gearbox. Turn the truck over and undo the 4 screws in the base. Be careful to remember the 2 side screws here. The longer ones go in the centre, and the shorter ones on the outside. And as you can see, the gearbox will then just lift out. Undo the 2 screws on the cover, and at this point you can check your motor mesh as well, which is very good on here, just a little bit. Now you can either disconnect the motor wires here or unscrew the motor and remove it here, or if you're feeling really brave, access the gearbox without doing either of those. To open the gearbox, you are going to have to remove the end of the drive shaft and then undo the 5 screws holding the gearbox together. So as we can see at this stage, there is a good amount of grease in there already. But while we're here, let's install the overdrive. So to do that, you need the 2 gears that come in the spare parts bag, which is a 28 and 54 tooth gear. And the 2 gears you're replacing are those that are tucked away closest to the motor mount, here and here. There are 4 screws holding the plastic gear in place. the gear that that's going to mate into is just held on by a pin. So careful not to lose the pin. So once that's installed, you can then go about greasing that gear. So once we've re-greased, we can slide this shaft back together and reinstall it into the gearbox. Check everything's moving freely and cycle it a few times to just get that grease nicely spread around the gears. Check that you're not losing any bearings, refit the cap or the gearbox cover and tighten it down. Being careful not to over tighten because we are screwing into plastic. Okay, so we haven't disturbed our mesh, which is good. Just a note of caution, you are screwing through this plastic cover into this metal motor mount, which does mean you have the opportunity to over torque that and crack the plastic cover. When reinstalling your gearbox, don't forget to check that your phasing is correct on the drive shaft as you reassemble it. And there we have it, my top 5 essential tips before you go out on the trail with your Element Ecto, plus a bonus at the same time of being able to install the 12% overdrive into the gearbox to give you that extra grip in the turns and on the climbs. If you like this video and found it useful, please don't forget to give us a like, and also if you would subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, that would be awesome. See you next time.